We can start now, I think. 3, 2, 1. Mariposa Lucci, welcome in. How are you doing? Welcome in. Welcome to the world's famous Billions Watched. We're on multiple platforms now. We're live here on TikTok. We're available on YT at Joe Lobo Presents. We're also on Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. So welcome in. This is the Authentic Podcast featuring Joe Lobo. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, like I it was one of the things where the cadence of these podcasts, like I really didn't want to put this so often, and I feel like once a week is good enough. I think for the most part, just to make sure that our stuff is sort of fresh, even though like if you realize sometimes our podcasts are interrelated in a sense where we always say the same things. But I mean, this is the point of the podcast. If you are brand new here, again, I welcome you guys in. Do me a favor, tap your screen, repost and reshare. We are here live on TikTok. Soon we'll be simultaneously doing this live on YT. There's certain things I have to do first before we even do that. But all the recordings that we do are also going to be available tomorrow. Basically, they're going to be available on Spotify. They're going to be available on Apple Podcasts. And last but not least, my YT page. If you didn't know if I had a YT page, well, I do. At Joe Lobo Presents. Do me a favor, tap your screen, repost and reshare here on TikTok. But yeah, I mean, again, the purpose. What are the purpose of these podcasts again? And just want to make sure you guys know this is to inspire you. A lot of people ask me, and I had a conversation, and then we'll talk about where I was for the past couple of days. But I can tell you this: like my cousin was asking me, because I told her about my podcast, and she knows about it. I've been doing this for a while, so she was asking what is your purpose of your podcast? Like it's like what do you do? And I said honestly, it's to inspire people, and I'll be honest with you, it is to inspire people like you to believe in yourself. I know it's cliche to say it, but honestly, like there's a lot of people in this world who feel like they're under control by someone else. And I want to tell you, no, you're not. You're really not. It's all this is on you. Because I know there's individuals who feel like they have to be in this box. They have to give up their purpose or their why of what's important to them. Because of the fact that there's bigger responsibilities, like someone's telling them, no, you can't do those purpose or why things that you believe in. Is because of the fact of you got these responsibilities to take care of. You have to do this. You have to take you have to get this type of living, and whatever you believe in, you can take it and put it on your side. I'm just telling you, and regardless of what people think, yes, I am an expat living here in the Philippines. I have my own challenges here. Like coming from a fast-paced society in the United States and coming here over to, the Philippines, I learned a lot. And one of the main things I realized is just like a lot of people, they are willing to do, this is the perspective that I had before. We're just like, a lot of people will just be willing to do whatever they need to do to essentially survive. Or they feel like their life is kind of spiraling out of control. And they feel like these circumstances outside of them are preventing them to do things. Now, what I can tell you most importantly is, and I tell you this, and it's something that people need to work on, child welcome in, and believe themselves. And you have to inspire yourselves to know and believe that you're more than capable of doing whatever you want. Whatever your purpose, your why, your belief set is, as long as you believe in it. The biggest challenge of all this is just for example, if you're an aspiring singer, right, or you're an aspiring podcaster like me, having the firm belief, and you see yourself at the end game, or you see what this all turns out to be. If you're an aspiring singer, whether it's you are visioning yourself to be a multi-platform, not just here on TikTok, but on other places as well, that you see yourself in the sense where it's just okay, well, I see myself here. I see myself with the biggest stage and thousands of people. That's you. The thousands of people listening to you on the stage, praising your voice, praising your sound, whatever it is. But the main key and goal of all this is just believing yourself. And amid what people will tell you, And this is on this thing. A lot of people are gonna tell you things out of fear, or they're afraid that they may lose you because you're gonna be this. I'll be honest, you'll be this caterpillar that turns to a butterfly, and they love you being the caterpillar. Let's be fucking honest. Like so at the end of the day, it's just like it's going to the enough confidence and getting to a position that you're uncomfortable, where like, you know, you're willing to deal away with individuals. Mommy Shar, welcome in. Deal well with individuals who, like, you know, may think in their mind that they are trying to protect you in a way from getting to the stuff that they feel in their mind is uncomfortable for you, or you're not gonna be successful, or just to protect you. But like, at the end of the day, if your truth is your truth, is your purpose, then what's important is that you should go for your purpose. And then going back to my cousin, who she was like, what do you do? Like, what's your purpose? And I said, honestly, like, I thought about it, it's just like, it's to inspire people. It's to inspire individuals. Like, yes, you know, regardless of what my circumstances is, I mentioned again, like, yes, I am blessed to be where I'm at right now in my life. And also too, I'm a human. Good morning, Mommy Shar. You inspired me. Oh, thank you, Shar. It's like people like her. This is what these are about. Where it's just like, you know, I always tell people, and it's funny because I made a comment a couple podcasts ago where my brother was telling the people when he went to the United States, like, oh, my brother's doing this, he's doing this one podcast, and the first thing that came out of their mind was like, oh, is he making money? Like, just like, geez, like, yes, we'll eventually get there, but like the main goal of all this, 100%, is to get people to believe, maybe in a mindset that I have, in a way where just like, you know, you're more than capable to do whatever the fuck you can do. And some people are too afraid to break out of the shell because of the fact of what people may think, feel, or say about them. And then I see all those gifts going on. I don't know what that animation is not going through. But it's just like, you know, once you realize, I'm checking this out.
Please and thank you.
That's not ready. I'm just checking it out. But like, it comes to a point when you believe in something so much and you go beyond what people say and think and believe. It's amazing what things happen to you, you know, and amazing what appears when, for example, like, you believe in something so much, you believe in your passion so much, like you see the people, places, and the things line up to you. Now, I'll be honest, like, there have been point of times, and I'm not gonna say, like, for example, everything I do is like perfect and fine and dandy. It's always going to be a journey. It's the easiest way I can say it. It's always going to be a journey to where you're going to go, how you're going to get there. Sometimes, and it aligns to a lot of things, and then this kind of will align to what we're going to be talking about today, because I've talked to many people and individuals about their pieces and opinions without diving into what we're going to be talking about. But like, having a firm belief that you are more than capable to do anything, and just believing that, you know, there are certain circumstances that happen to you in your life, is because of the fact of it's to prepare you for something bigger. It is. So when it goes back to individuals who, like, you know, when it goes back to why do I do this, it's to inspire you. And it is like, and it goes back to, you know, it's crazy, it's wild. We're almost at 42, this is 43 episodes. You'll find out when we post this on YT, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Like, we're 40 plus in. Isn't that wild? We're 40 plus into these episodes in the podcast. And again, I tell you, like, these are 100% unscripted. I don't script any of this. Maybe I put an idea of, like, okay, maybe, hey Christine, your girl Christine from SR95, DYSR 95.1 in Dumaguete City. Make sure you follow her. I may think of an idea of, like, okay, well, we'll think about this. We'll roll into, like, well, what do we, you know, with the experiences I've had from the last time we talked. For the most part, there's probably gonna be certain topics that we do talk about, but I think for the most part, you know, these are unscripted. Best example, and I'm gonna touch on it, is like my brother. My brother has his own podcast. I will say his podcast on here. If you want to watch it, it's on YT. He's slow rolling it. You know, he's slow rolling it. I've been trying to tell him, like, you got to do some stuff, make it more thing. You got to do these things on YT because, you know, your camera is following. Yeah, it's active track. There you go. That's kind of late. But I mean, he has a podcast. It is called Tropiq Podcast. So this is basically, it's him and his friend over here in the Philippines. It's a non-Filipino guy talking about their LGBT experiences here in the province of Bohol. So if you ever want to find it, it's called Tropiq. I think it is what it is. But basically, like, you know, shouts up to him and my brother's friend. The difference is like, you know, I think the putting yourself in the position where people can find you and like the settings and whatever it's gonna be. I think me and my brother have different visions on it, and I just let him be. But basically, I think it's just like, you know, it also goes down to how successful these are going to be. It depends on how much effort you're gonna put into it. So it also goes again back to like, you know, the journey I've been talking about, where it's just like, you know, firmly believing on what you're going to get to or what your end game's going to be or what's going to look like without even knowing how you're going to get there. Like, if you stop worrying about how you're going to get there, you're allowing, whether it's you believe in God, universe, the rock, I don't know, whatever deities you believe in. For me, it's the universe, the law of attraction, manifestation. Like, if you give him free reign in the sense of you don't need to know how it's going to happen, you just know it's going to occur. You know the events are going to occur. You know you're going to get to this point. You'd be surprised at the people, the places, the things, the events, the circumstances that arrive to you. Again, there are certain things that you have to do where, like, you know, like you got to put some effort in, right? So this is why I brought up my brother stuff. It's just like, you know, Tropiq Podcast, they're going every so often. I think they're trying to do one podcast a month. And that's fine and all. I mean, the cadence is cool, but like I was telling my brother, Rick, for example, I think sometimes my brother, he doesn't want to hear my feedback in a sense, where it's just like he wants to do it his own way, and that's fine. I'm just going off the experiences I have because I've been doing this since late July. I honestly tried to tell him like, hey, why don't you go live on TikTok and just talk? And then this is where he was talking about the certain things that were like about like, okay, well, I need to be structured. I need to know what I'm going to be talking about. Because blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, don't worry about that. Just get comfortable so you can talk, you know? Because even if you're structured enough and you do your podcast and whatever, blah, 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 like there are going to be times that shit hits the fan and what do you do, right? So that's kind of why I think he's going the editing route where he's going through YT and all this stuff. And just like, you know, one of the most important things, and for you all as well, and I'm sharing knowledge to you, for YT, for example, very important that you update your SEO, your keywords. Now, those help you in a way where basically this is how people are going to find you. This is how the algo is going to adjust to you to determine like, okay, who do you get shared to? So basically, gotta make sure you do that. I think it's a limit of 500 characters, and the easiest way to do it, be honest with you, obviously you have to give some inspiration into using AI. And what I mean for giving inspiration to AI is like, I use ChatGPT. I tell them like, you have to give them ideas of what is your content, what do you do, what is your plan, blah 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 blah. And then from there, obviously, like I've had a relationship already with ChatGPT where it kind of knows what I do already. So basically, when I told them like, hey, can you generate keywords of my podcast, how people can find me, blah blah blah, spit out 500 characters. But what is one important of that is, you know, you got to make sure you put keywords into your SEO, because if you don't do that, how the fuck do people find you? And this is kind of ties into my brother stuff. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'll do later, blah blah blah. It's important. I just want to get the podcast down, and it's funny because like, you know, he already has merchandise, and I'm just like, and that's dope for him. Go ahead and have your merchandise and everything, but just like, man, like, I think maybe it's for me, it's a little bit different because of the fact of like I want to focus on this content. Obviously, you can see all this and what we look like now. Quality of how these look like to you is very more important than getting my merchandise. I want to make sure that as you realize, even if you've gone the journey with me and listening to like, you know, the other mediums like on you know, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even here, like even the sound quality better. Mommy Joy, thank you for the heart. We appreciate you. If you look at the sound quality of both these, where it's, you know, it was muffled to now it's actually sounds good quality. Even the video quality, like I'll be honest, like I yes, we started from just having our our phone, right? We just had our phone. We were at the narrow 9:16, that TikTok limit of like what it should be, and like, and that was perfectly fine. Those are the ones I've been updating. But at the end of the day, like I always tell people, and it's just like, this is very important. And you know, there's a reason why I'm telling you all this stuff, is because it's to inspire you, right? At some point when you want to get to a position where you are going to get bigger or get improved, like you have to somehow, some way get to a position where you improve your quality. So like for this one, right? Like there was always going to be a position I thought in my mind. And even in the beginning, I think I told you like the beginnings of all this. It's crazy. I think we've been on TikTok now for almost like a year, and then all the other platforms were probably like 6 months later. And you know, it's a journey. But like if you look at, for example, and thinking and envisioning of like what's important to you, where do you feel yourself is going to be at the end of this, right? Like in order to get improvement and get quality and get to a position that you're ready to go to another platform or multi-platform, whatever it is. Again, like probably all the stuff I'm going to be telling you, like if you are very successful here in TikTok, you're probably like, oh, Joe, you're full of shit. I don't need this. I'm fine in TikTok. I'm getting all this stuff. Great. If that's you, keep on going. You don't have to listen to me. But I think for individuals who are like, you know, they want to go beyond TikTok, they want to see what's bigger, what's out there. And it's funny I mentioned that because there's a mutual friend I talked to here on TikTok where she's already thinking about like going to another platform that I think it rivals TikTok. I'd never gone in there, but I think it's big in the Philippines here. Similar, I think. I haven't looked at it, but I heard there's mostly singers, but she was talking about maybe I should just go in there. And I was like, why not? You're never going to find out if you don't try it, right? So like, this is where you get the mindset in it, just like for me, the mindset of like, okay, I want to get multi-platform. I want to get somewhere else. I want to be bigger than what I, you know, get bigger to what I say I'm going to be. Billions watched, right? So how do you get to billions watched? And I asked this question before, is billions watched here on TikTok? Probably not. But however, if you think bigger than TikTok, then you spread your wings to go other places like I've been doing, where like, you know, I'm going through multiple platforms. I keep on saying and selling it to you. I am on YT at Joe Lobo Presents on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm also live here on TikTok. We'll be doing other stuff as well. But it's most important is just like, you know, preparing yourself to get to the position of, I don't know, we might be actually in a position. Wow, we're at 5K likes. Thank you for you guys. I don't know. We might be going to another maybe a streaming platform down the road. I don't know. It could be the pink one or the green one, if you know what that is. I don't want to say any names, but I think TikTok would be mad. I already say the other platforms, but like, you know, I don't know if we're going to do that. I think what's more important is just like for the ones we have, we're good. And then there's other plans for Apple Podcasts that I need to finalize, which I haven't done yet. It's just a matter of providing one piece of information, then that opens up like, you know, essentially the next part of that, which is subscriptions. I think I mentioned to you like about the subscription level stuff of that. Going to get ready and work. Broski, see you later. Thank you, Mommy Shar. Make sure you follow Mommy Shar. If you want to look for the female version of me in Vegas, make sure you follow Mommy Shar. But going back to what I was saying, like, you know, once we get that stuff done for Apple Podcasts, then I think the prioritization of who gets what first, it'll probably go to Apple Podcasts first. Now, just touching upon what I was mentioning again, right? Like, it's just the quality is kind of important for me. It's just like I want to try to create the best version of myself. So if that means creating the best version of myself, then essentially means, you know, getting to a position that we can do this. I always believe there's reasons why things happen and occur. Like there's always a reason why things happen in certain order, certain events. There's probably reasons why you don't get the stuff you are asking about, and it's probably because you're not ready. So like I mentioned just before, even the beginning of this, when we were getting to like going live streaming, I was trying to figure this out on my MacBook, how to do this stuff on my MacBook, and then came to find out that I could not do this in my province house at all. There was no way, no how to do it because of the fact of the resources I have. again, when I look back, what I'm saying, like, I think that was a reasoning in which, like, I just wasn't ready for it. But I always envision, and it's, you know, even if you look at the type of content I was doing before, where it's just like I was trying to do cinematic content, and then that led into like the daily authentic. I mentioned this before. You know, we ended up buying this camera, which is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It was obviously for something totally different than what it is now. It was supposed to be for my short form content. It was going to be creating cinematics. I was at that point in time doing cinematics in my short form vlog content on my old YT page and also on TikTok. So I was posting every day, and then it just came to a point where just like, you know, I changed it up. We're going towards where we are now, where we're doing the podcast. So basically, this went into my shelf or my drawer, no longer to be used because of the fact of there was no reason for it, because I was no longer doing cinematics. I was no longer doing editing. I mean, even if you think about like the editing, I don't like compare. I mentioned this before, like even the amount of effort I put into the podcast to edit versus what I did before, this is like not as much anymore. Maybe like I would say a quarter of the effort I'm doing to do these edits compared to when we were doing the, you know, the daily authentic is the best example. I've told you that journey before, where just like, you know, basically like we were wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go record for 30 minutes, and then, you know, multiple clips and takes on this DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and then when it came to editing, it literally took 3 hours. I was a perfectionist and made sure the quality was good to the point where essentially, you know, we wanted to make sure that you take out the like, you know, the stuttering. Most of the things in the beginning of this journey, just getting from the camera was tough. So like I would say a lot of ifs. I would say a lot of, you know, you know, the stuff will get you distracted from the content. And like, you know, that would take like 2-3 hours to edit. So we did that. And then by the time we, you know, was finished, starting at 5:30 in the morning, and the finish and post, I think it was like at 9:30. And this is the part of time where we were going from the promised house to here in Tagbilaran City, Panglao. Getting in preparation to move here and all the other initial investments we started doing when we first moved to the Philippines. So like, you know, Monday to Saturday, it was a gig. It wasn't sustainable. It was hard to do. Even the editing, it was challenging. And we're, you know, we're trying to go to the city, Tagbilaran City and Panglao. And, you know, mind you, 2-hour drive, and you're only spending in, you know, Tagbilaran City, Panglao, maybe 3 hours, and then go back. And it's just like putting all that stuff and effort to make edits, it didn't work. So that's where it led to, you know, the change. People come in and says, you gotta just change it up, blah, blah, blah. And we went to the podcast, this went to the shelf. And it wasn't until recently where, you know, I didn't bring my iMac here back in 2020. I have my 2020 iMac, the last Intel iMac that we have, that before they went to Silicon. I left it in the United States. I didn't have it here. That's why we had the podcast. I mean, not the podcast. That's why we had the MacBook. And then, you know, it wasn't until we finalized everything in the United States. As I mentioned before, we closed out our 20 by 20 storage that we were paying $400 a month for, which had all my stuff that I was thinking were initial there was initial plan again, where we were thinking about going to move to another state and then do 50% here, 50% in the United States. Didn't plan out. So, you know, we had to clear out the storage, which we did. And that included bringing stuff back. I still have a lot of boxes coming on via boat of my old stuff. I don't know where the heck I'm going to put it in this room. But most important key stuff for this journey, for the quality I'm talking about, is my iMac, which enabled us to get to this point. Where now it's crazy how, like, at this point when we're building our journey as a podcaster and we're still on my phone, and where we had the setup, the audio setup was fine. We're playing music, we're working well. Now we worked on the whole full circle of stuff, which is basically, you know, starting to use my Osmo Pocket 3, but it's being repurposed for something else, which essentially turns out to be the camera. So now you see my camera, you see my quality turned out to be somewhat totally different to what it is. And it actually looks better than what it was before. it looks more broadcast quality is what I've been always looking for. I always vision in my mind of what this is going to look like at the end of the day, where I visioned that I would be like I guess I can term it as being a streamer, but I call myself a podcaster. I really do. Even though I'm starting to branch out and play video games now, and like, oh my god, we'll talk about the video games another time, but we also sing and do other stuff here on TikTok as well. That'd be TikTok specific. But I think for the most part, like the journey and the purpose, the why I'm doing things, my second purpose is to inspiring people, and this is the way I'm doing this through my podcast. And it's amazing, like we're at this point now, I'm proud to be at this point now where we're showing something so much better and what's even more important is like the output, the recordings that we're doing are going to be much more clearer as what you're seeing now. So like if you have the opportunity to see on Spotify or now obviously on YT, because I don't know if you can do it on Apple Podcasts. I don't know if you can actually see video. I haven't got to that point. Maybe when I unlock subscriptions, you'll probably see it, and then we can watch it over there. But I think for the most part, this is just so much of a plus for those platforms where like instead of me showing you just like a narrow view of who I am, and obviously I was restricted on my phone, restricted on the output from TikTok, the extract, and we couldn't use this quality we're using now. But for example, like this, right? We're basically, even though TikTok is putting this at 1080p 60, my webcam is doing my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is doing this at 4K 30. So at least for the most part, the quality, the broadcast version, the picture, the camera of me is going to essentially be at the best it can be. But what's more important too, what's great about this stuff as well, is I'm locally recording this whole broadcast so that when we actually show it, when you guys see this, so the folks who are watching me here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I don't know if you can see me, but on YT, you'll see the differences of what this all looks like now. What's up, JC? How you doing, brother? This is what I always wanted. There's another half of the other piece of it, like the simultaneous streaming that we will do of lives. We're almost there. There's just certain things I need to work on where it's more Mac related, where basically I could go live, but the problem is that you cannot hear. Good to see you, bro. You too, JC. Thank you for stopping by, brother. The challenge is, like, as you hear now, you hear my music playing in the background. And by the way, this is from Upbeat.io and it's copyright free, so haha. If I were to play this over in YT, there's some challenges I have. Obviously, if you all know, I'm using OBS. OBS is the way I'm accessing YT. The idea plan was to use OBS to run everything. Maybe we get to have the opportunity to do this with TikTok, but things happen. Was limited through TikTok support of what I can provide and do. And it wasn't until I realized, there's TikTok Live Studio, that actually I can go live and using my iMac. Well, I don't know if it's available yet in the Philippines, but if you can close your eyes and envision that you're maybe in the United States, you can probably download it. So that's how I did it. But yeah, so pretty much the thing I'm missing, and I mentioned this before, is there's a certain thing called Loopback that is a virtual audio mixer. And right now it's a limitation through Macs where when you're trying to output it to, for example, outputting it to a broadcast like OBS, you're the one that's going to help that manages your live and whatever your scenes, and essentially it will make sure that your music, the background music, the stuff that is a limitation for Macs, because right now it's only, I think it's single source. I think it's the best way to say is a single source, right? So like it can only hear one source. The one source it can only hear is basically your mic. So my mic, my mixer is the only thing you can hear in OBS. It cannot hear internal Mac stuff, which, like, for example, my music. So that's the challenge, where I need to basically get a virtual audio mixer like Loopback. And and then put all the stuff together and then treat that as one source, and then you can hear everything else. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But that's going to cost money, and that will take time. So maybe we'll probably bring that back January, I think, is where we will start looking at it again, because I think we can. Again, I think we can go simultaneous streaming, and I look at how much usage my computer is going through right now, my Mac's going through now, and it's not really getting hit. So running OBS, and I've already done it before, because like basically, if you're curious, like you see me here on TikTok, and I'm playing games on my PS5, playing horribly at Call of Duty Black Ops 7 multiplayer, you can see that I'm able to post it here. You know how I'm doing it? It's because of OBS. I'm window capturing OBS, my PS5 from OBS, and it's a window capturing to here. So that's how you can see the game I'm playing, is because I'm using TikTok Live Studio and using OBS as well. So yeah, that major piece that I'm looking for, which is essentially, Margie, welcome and hope you're doing well. It's gonna cost $100 USD, so we have to wait on it. We'll probably wait till January until we actually look into again doing that piece. But I imagine once we have that virtual audio mixer, we should be good, and then we'll probably be able to do the same thing we're doing now. The reason why I don't want to do it right now is because, like with YT, there is a huge delay, and it's not as, I think the delays between here and TikTok Live Studio and here and on YT is a little bit different. So I wanted to be worried where, like, you know, it's not going to be so bad, and there's ideas how I can circumvent that, in the sense where, like, okay, maybe I just show one source from one place but window capture it and show it somewhere else. It's kind of like what I'm doing with the PS5. The video capture from the Elgato HD60X I'm using of the PS5. So I probably will be doing that, but that just requires some other virtual tools I need. We'll figure it out back in January. So again, if you're ever looking to be in a position that you are looking to improve, and, like, you know, even be in the position that you believe that you're gonna be bigger than yourself, this is the pathway. Have you seen me as long as you've been with me with these 40 plus episodes? Like, the path of how far we've gone to this point, and I always talk about it, is like we've gone to this far. This is how it could be you. It's a matter of you, and it's irrelevant. I'll be honest with you, it's irrelevant. Yes, money helps. Yes, money will help resources, but it's more important the things that will align towards you. Of, like, you know, for example, what aligns towards you when you believe in something so much. You know what I mean? You believe in it so much in the sense where it's just like people's opinions about it, or people's opinions about you, no longer matter, and you are just laser focused on what your goal is. Yes, please take care of your responsibilities, of course. So, like, for the individuals like you who are like you feel like you're in the box because you're forced to work and do this, but you're pushing away like your purpose and why, because it feels like people are telling you don't do that because you need to focus on other stuff. Most importantly, like, yes, take care of your responsibilities 100%, but, like, always, you can always put, like, you know, your purpose and why as maybe a part-time thing, until it gets to a point where, like, you no longer need to be part-time. You can be full-time about it, and you just have to be in a position where you believe in it enough, and just, like, do some work, little things here and there to keep it going. It may not seem, you'll be surprised, even if it's like the smallest things that you put yourself into, or just like, it may not seem as so much of a big leap, but you'd be surprised. It's better than, like, you know, completely abandoning something and then you totally forget it because you turn into your dream, your passion gets deterred from people, or gets deterred by responsibilities that you feel like are responsibilities or things and events are that you feel that are being controlled, that are outside of you, that you feel are you yourself are getting controlled from. Basically, just get in a position where you believe in it and just do it. And it's hard, I know, and I want to make sure to say it's not just me saying this. Like, you know, there are reasons why I do certain things here on TikTok, where I show you, or even on the Authentic Podcast. I used to do this on Authentic Podcast, like, you know, the meditation piece. Like, now you catch me here maybe in the mornings, where kind of changes that. We'll talk about that and we'll find out where we can put that in. But I think for the most part, like, you know, there's a reason why I show you meditation. There's a reason why I used to do it here on the Authentic Podcast, where you have a certain amount of time where we just meditate for 20 minutes, is because it's all part of the process. It's all part of the belief of, like, you know, getting you in that position where you're at the next version of yourself, to be open to, you know, to be open to the next door that you need to get to, whether it's a new person that you need to meet that's going to help you elevate to get to the next level, or essentially it's a certain key thing that you need to unlock a next door. I don't know what it is, but I always firmly believe when you get to a position where you firmly believe in, like, what you're laser focused on what you're going to be, the people, places, events will always show up for you. There's probably some work that you have to do to get there, but you always will get there. And then just, like, you know, and why am I saying all this? Again, I want you to believe that you can do this yourself. There's a lot of people, even especially, were just like, you know, they feel like they're lost, or they feel like, you know, there's nothing, they're losing control of everything. Like, they feel like they're failing in life. And we'll discuss more about this piece as well. But, like, I just want to tell you, like, your life is so much bigger than you think it is. And this is for the folks, you know, who are listening to me on the podcast side. It's just like, your life is so much bigger than you think it is. And if you just give yourself the opportunity to believe in yourself that, you know, you're more than able to do this, or you're more able to get to a better position than what you currently are, and you allow yourself to surrender, in a sense, to the universe or God, or leave it to God's hands. Let go and let God is one of the famous terms I've heard before. If you let it go to God, or let it go to the universe, you'll be so fucking surprised how far you go. You'll be so surprised how far you go. So, like, long-winded question of my cousin, like, asking me what I do. This is what I do: inspire people. Always find a purpose in my soul, or people's life, even like, and it kind of shows who the person I am, as being authentic and just being genuine, like showing people, or while you're listening to me or watching my video here live on TikTok or wherever it's going to be, how authentic I am. Or to, like, yeah, I may not be this perfect, you know, like, everything is like always, I'm always getting everything I want immediately. I am a human just like you. But at the end of the day, like, I always have this mentality just to keep on going. As much as, like, you know, I'll be honest, there's some times where I have a little bit low, you know, there's some low lights I have sometimes. Even like recently I had a low light. I don't know why I was thinking about it, but just like, it kind of affected me. It's just more of like, I think it's the availability, like, for one, the availability of meeting more people. I think it's because of that thing of, like, seeing my brother, in a sense where, like, he has all these friends and made a big network here in Bohol and blah blah blah. And I looked at myself as like, it's, you know, slim pickings. Most of my network is here on TikTok, which is fine. And then, you know, it kind of got a low light a little bit, which is like, okay, what's going on, blah blah blah. But you know what? I had to take a step back, and I was just realizing myself, just like, you know, I'm bigger than this. Everything works out as it should. People, places, and things of, like, you know, who you're supposed to meet and who you're supposed to interact with, they always align up. And I just had to take a step back, take a deep breath, and just like just remember who I was. And just like, yeah, it can get crazy as shit. Like, I'm being upfront with you. Like, I go through the same stuff as a normal human being, but just like, you know, the most amazing thing of just being human, us being humans, is just the resiliency of just getting out of the positions we are. And we get to a position where, like, we work on how to get beyond whatever mental state you are in. Whether it's like, okay, finding a solution to whatever your issue is, or just believing a simple belief that it's going to be okay. So monumental of, like, you know, like, thinking of that mindset where just like, it's going to be okay, because it's going to be okay. Everything that happens to you is temporary. Sometimes in the youth, sometimes I also believe too, it's like, there are probably reasons why things happen to you is because of the fact to prepare you, get you prepared for whatever's going to happen to you next. So if it's something that just, like, you know, you're going through the worst shit of your life, maybe it's one of these things that you have to go through the worst shit of your life to get you prepared for the next level of the stuff where, like, if you get to that point where you're like, you're dealing with the same shit again, you're like, it's okay. I've done with this before. I know what to do now. Everything's all good. We'll figure this shit out. So, like, that's where I'm telling you, like, get to a position where, like, you know, you believe in yourself a little bit. You do, because at the end of the day, like, the only person that can change this or modify this or get you to a position where you choose to be is yourself. There is no magical thing outside yourself that's going to put you in the position you are going to be in, unless you want to believe that. If you feel that certain events outside of your control is controlling you, that's up to you if you want to believe that. But there are people like me, individuals, where I feel like, you're 100% in control of who you are. It's just changing your mindset to be like, yes, there can be tons of shit that's affecting you in your life, but it's how you rebound. It's how you get off your feet to stand up and say, let's go. We get to and get ready to get to the next position where it's just like, okay, what's the next thing that we have to take care of? So you can go through this worst shit in your life, and there's even worse stuff. As humans, you know what I'm talking about, where like, the loss of someone, that's something that's very hard to deal with. And I've talked to many people. I talked to a couple of people who have dealt with that recently. It was just like, it's terrible, it's hard. But like, that's stuff like, you go through it, you baby step out of it, and then you come to a point where you get stronger from it. So like when it happens to the next circumstance, not that, but just like, for another circumstance where you're dealing with a lot of pain and stress and you have yourself doubting yourself, you'll at least be in a position where, at the end of the day, like, you're better able to handle it. And that's where it's just like, I honestly tell people, just like, it's okay. It's going to be good. So anyway, like that's like, for example, like I wanted to just reiterate and just reintroduce myself back to you guys, like, because I know there's probably a lot of people who, maybe this is your first time listening to me on a podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YT. Maybe it's the first time you're hearing me, but here, this is me, Joe Lobo. I originated this from TikTok. Or maybe you're brand new here in TikTok, you're watching me in FYP, you're trying to figure out who the fuck is Joe Lobo. All I see him is play terrible on video games, but I want to see what he's about. But you know what? This is me. I'm doing this for a benefit of you. I think, and it's funny because I talked to my cousin about this. It's just like, you're doing this because it's self-therapy. If you think about it, yeah, she is right. Whereas like, yeah, this is a sense of self-therapy. Me helping others to help myself. 100%. Like finding the joy in being able to help individuals who are willing to listen. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people you try to tell them like you're trying to help them out and they probably don't want to listen to you and turn you off. Like there's plenty of people I've already, like, for example, my brother's one of them. Yes, he means well. And sometimes I think our personal conflicts come in the way and whatnot, but just like, it's funny because like when I try to tell him information and help him, blah, 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 the definitely an individual where like he will ask someone else before he even listens to my stuff. And that's what it is. I always try to call him out on that, but he's just like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And I see it over and over and again. Again, two different individuals. He can do whatever he can do whatever he chooses to be. And I'm doing the way it works for me. So at the end of the day, it's just like, there's always going to be situations where you feel like it's out of your control and how you can deal with it. But you just have to blame yourself. You do. Because it's going to be easier. And I tell you that it's going to be easier. It's going to be not as straining as you think it's going to be. And sometimes people take it so hard on themselves where it's just like they get paralyzed with it. And I'm just telling you, like, it just, I had to tell people some information about that where like there's a better outlet. You just got to believe in it. It's going to be okay. So like, anyway, like, kind of talking about what my cousin is. So like what I've been for the past 3 days is just like, we went to Cebu for 3 days. I kind of was a third wheel with my brother. I went to join my brother and his friend, and they met a couple of friends. We went to Cebu for 3 days. I think and we went to hang out there real quick. It's interesting too, because I feel like, Cebu is like an hour and a half away from Bohol by boat. And it's just like so easy to get there, but I feel you like, 3 days is not enough to do anything. Like you literally need a week. I feel like if you're going to another province or another place, you need at least need a week to do stuff. So that's what we did. We went to, it was even for 3 days. Like there was like I was initially I was trying to plan meeting people that I met off of TikTok, but it's just like I had no time for it. I really didn't. Like the amount of we were only there for 2 nights. So we came there, I think we left Monday and we left Wednesday. And then basically by the time we arrived there, essentially like it was okay, we went to check in at our hotel. We were basically near the port, next to the mall, SM City, in Cebu. Literally came in, we walked around the mall and then came to dinner and we had dinner. And then the next day, I think we had dinner with a couple of friends. We actually went, it was that night we went to a really good Spanish restaurant. It starts with an S. I freaking forgot the name of the restaurant, but like, man, great Spanish food. He has a restaurant here called, what is it called? Oh my goodness. I forgot the name of the restaurant too. I'm terrible at this. But there's a restaurant he has here in Bohol, and then we went to his second restaurant in Cebu. Oh my gosh, some really good food. If you're looking into like, there's a lot of good places in Cebu, but this place had some good paella. We ate some paella. I had some, and you're missing out though. If you are saying ew, gross, beef lengua. Wow, most tender stuff. So I had some lengua, and then we had some appetizer at the Spanish restaurant. It was really overall good. So we had that. We had lunch. We had dinner at this nice place in Cebu. So we went over there, and then it was just simple stuff. The next day, we did some. My brother had some plans to do something there, so that's kind of the reason why he was there. But basically, it was just like waking up in the morning, eating breakfast over in at our hotel, and then we ended up going to SM City to do a little bit of shopping. I finally was able to get certain things I could not find in Bohol. Like I tell you this, and I shared pictures. Like if you follow me here on TikTok, obviously I'm talking to you all from YT, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Like in Bohol, we don't have certain American staple stuff or things you would find at a regular mall. Usually you can find them in Cebu because like they have SM, that's the big the big shopping mall here in the Philippines that has all the American brands, usually at their or even like in Cebu they have like a Costco. If you're from the United States, like they have the big box Costco like warehouse that is called S&R. What I'm trying to get at this is like, even trying to find Neutrogena body soap or body wash, which I usually use in the United States, couldn't find that here in Bohol. Like I told you the story like in the past podcast where I was like, for example, I was looking for a PS5 controller. Yeah, to each his own. It's Bohol. Not everyone can afford a PS5, but the challenge of finding a controller here, couldn't find anything at all. But in Cebu, yeah, absolutely, you found it. So thank goodness I was able to buy it in TikTok shop, so I didn't have to worry about buying another controller. But I mean, just to give you an example of just like the availability of stuff here in Bohol, it's hard to find stuff here. So if you're looking for specific American goods, you probably want to go to Cebu because of the fact of the availability. It might change. I heard like what's coming here in Panglao is a Robinson's Market. So Robinson's is coming in. There's a supermarket that's opening up soon. I don't know when, probably like a month or two or whatnot, but there is a supermarket that's opening soon in which, for example, we'll have some American goods. So crossing my fingers. But anyway, like we were near the mall, so I ended up buying some stuff. Like I've been meaning to get some shorts, basketball hoop shorts. So if people know me in my private life, and obviously some of you obviously don't, I feel the most comfortable wearing, for example, basketball shorts, Nike brand. I am a brand, I guess you can say I'm a brand whore. I was before. Now I just like, I like it because of the comfortability and whatnot. But like, I was like, even when my brother was in the United States, I was telling him, hey, can you get some hoop shorts from the Nike store of this style, blah, blah, blah. Because like, like even going to, there's no Nike store here in Bohol. So again, I have to go to Cebu to get stuff that's Nike branded. Like, we don't have any of that here. So it was great that I was able to find stuff at the mall where like the shorts I wanted. I was looking for black Nike basketball shorts. Was able to find that, and then we went to Decathlon. Bought some more apparel there for certain things because it's harder to, again, like the availability of stuff in the province of Bohol it's kind of challenging. So that's why it's always makes sense to go to for example to like to Cebu because it will have this stuff. Like even going to SNR. We went to SNR. It's for you guys in the United States. It's the Costco in the Philippines. Actually, I think Costco has a share into SNR because they do have a lot of Kirkland brand in there. So there's a lot of Kirkland brand at SNR. So I think that the company Costco has some investments into SNR. That's probably why they have it, and then you can see that. But I think for the most part, like even being able to buy Neutrogena, for example, brand. I like Neutrogena, their body wash, and you can't find it here in You can't find it here in Bohol. Even if you try to order it, it's only a small bottle. I was able to load up on that and have enough for like the next trip, which is literally have 3 huge bottles of that. Being able to get like the simple stuff, like for example, my brother has a certain Gillette razor that he uses. I use Harry's razors, and they don't have it here even in Cebu. We'll figure that shit out, but we had a big supply I told my brother to get, so I'm good for now. But he was able to get like not Schick razors, Gillette razors, like the Mach 5 or Mach 3 or whatever it is. Got him a supply of that. Or even like the deodorant I've been using for a while. Like yes, I have adjusted. I use the deodorant that's available at the shopping mall, whatever it is. Like I think it's this is what I use now, Old Spice. So that's readily available in the malls here in Tagbilaran at the Alturas malls. It's basically in Bohol. Everything is essentially run by Alturas. So the malls are Alturas based, blah blah blah. So whatever you get from Alturas is what they have. So I've been using this for 2 years, Old Spice, and I usually use like this. I think it was Gillette or whatnot. And they have it at SNR. So what I ended up buying is like four packs of them. And then just like things like that. We're just like even like like my brother's friend. He ended up bringing 2 check-in bags, and you know why? He ended up buying a lot of stuff from he bought a lot of stuff from SNR, whereas it's like staple stuff that you couldn't buy in bulk here in Tagbilaran. Like even if we took it, and I gotta move this stuff because it thinks I'm not moving. Hold on. I don't know why it thinks I'm not moving. I'm working. Hold on. There you go. Good. Very good. Okay. 444. Had to deal with some TikTok stuff thinking I was inactive. I'm actually live, so I don't know what the heck it's talking about. But I think for the most part, just like, I see what he did. He ended up he literally brought 2 suitcases and he filled it with American stuff. Like stuff you can find at SNR that's not readily available here in Bohol. Like even though he bought Spam, but it's the master pack of Spam. So like, at Costco or like those big box stores, you can get like for cheap, like you can get I think it's like, what is it? Like maybe a 10 pack of Spam. It's probably much cheaper. So, that's why I wouldn't be surprised why he bought it, because like the amount you can get for the price you're paying. So he bought Spam, a lot of stuff that's not even candies or chocolates are not even available here in Bohol. So like for example, like, he filled up 2 suitcases. So that's the stuff, like, like for example, like when you think about like what me and my brother can do in the future, or bring my dad, like there's certain things that we want to do. We probably do the same thing where we just maybe stay a day in Cebu, but for the most part, like we will go to like, SNR and get the stuff we need. So pretty much just bring 2 suitcases literally of stuff, and then just get the stuff that we need. Like where, like even like for example, like brand name detergent, I guess you can say, for washing. Like they have that at SNR, like the American stuff. Like you'll be surprised. Like there's a lot of American stuff over in SNR, and just like even the quality, like even like the type of stuff, like the Like if you're from Costco, like the stuff you would miss, it's there. So like just thinking about like, you know, maybe in a couple weeks, I think my brother was talking about, I was asking like when is next time we're gonna go Cebu, and he was probably saying a couple weeks where we probably do the same thing, where it's like, you know, learning and listening to what happened, what my brother's friend did, bring 2 suitcases of stuff because of the fact of, you know, we're gonna be putting the stuff that we buy and fixing my necklace. The stuff we buy potentially at S&R, we can just put in the suitcases and just go take the ferry boat. Like usually before, like, you know, honestly, when we were up north in the province, we would take the huge boat, and we'll probably do that again when we want to bring our car, you know. But like for quick trips, here in Tugbalara, they have the thing called Ocean Jet, which is like, you know, ocean ferry. It's a ferry boat that goes from Bohol to Cebu. I think it's like every hour or whatnot. But I mean, like using that and doing that is probably just more convenient, just given how we are. So you don't have to worry about, you know, signing your car and whatnot, and just like, and also too, what's important, like also too, that's fine, is basically you have Grab out there, and Grab is more utilized over in Cebu, so you don't have to worry about like finding a resource to pick you up. Like versus here in Cebu, versus here in Bohol, it is, you know, Grab is only available, I think, in Tugbalara and Panglao Island. So basically, for the most part, you can go so far with Grab here in Bohol, and that's why they still have, you know, that's why there's other partners, like, you know, there's other partners like here, that there's Maxim, there is another app that's here in Bohol. Basically same thing, it's a trike app where it's just like, you know, they provide service through, you know, through Tugbalara and City and Bohol and Panglao as well. So like even like that, so you don't have to worry about like when you go to Cebu, like where, okay, how you do for transfer, how you do for rental, you can just take a Grab. Like Grab's really available in Cebu, and then you can just spend a night. Like even like the hotel we stayed at, that's actually was cheaper than we usually stay at. We usually stayed near Ayala before, and I think it's just because, like, you know, overall that's where my parents wanted to stay, you know, like, and as always, it's a really nice hotel that we stayed at that's near Ayala. So if you know where Ayala Mall is in Cebu, that's the hotel I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say the name of the hotel because we're live, and you guys are probably listening to me as well. But I think for the most part, like, you know, we stayed at the hotel that's right next to SM City, right across from like the terminal that we came off of the boat, literally off the coast, right? Where our hotel room was facing the port of Cebu. So one, nice views when you wake up, but I mean, just accessibility to get into certain things and places. I mean, it's readily available with Grab. So basically, just do that. So I think the future planning of that is just like, you know, we can just go, if we need to get certain things that are not available, and I've been telling this to my dad or me and my brother, we can just take a trip to Cebu, maybe stay a day there, and then just like go to where we need to go, whether it's a mall or we need to go to S&R to grab stuff. We'll do that. So that's pretty much what we did. I mean, like, basically we did a little bit of eating. There was a point on Saturday where we, like, you know, we had the you pay for a hotel, there's like the free breakfast and all that, and you pay for that. The breakfast was heavy, so like we didn't want to feel like on eating. And then we had our lunch with what did we do? I think we had another lunch, and it was kind of a heavy lunch. What we had on Tuesday, and then I think the plan was going to be on Tuesday night we were going to have a buffet for dinner at the hotel, but it was like, oh my god, we ate so much food, so we ended up just doing like, you know, we ended up doing room service. It's got like, you know, for example, I think what did I get? I ended up getting a club sandwich and fries. My brother got some nachos and just something small eats, where basically like it wasn't so filling, because man, like even I think my brother mentioned it, like, even because the first night we had at that Spanish restaurant, we were so full from that. That was really heavy, good food. And then having the buffet the next day, and then trying to figure out where we ate. We ate at a burger place like that. I think that when we arrived, when we arrived from Bohol on Monday. Like, that's another thing too. burgers outside of the McDonald's and Jollibee that's here, actually being able to go to SM City and eat an actual burger place. That burger was pretty damn good. It was like all 4 cheese. I think it was called 8-bit burgers. I don't know if I'm calling it right, but it's in the mall. But we ended up getting a 4 cheese burger, and it was really good. An actual burger. Like, yes, they have burgers here in Bohol, but just like, if you like, there's small places, like there's like, those small burger joints I have here in the Philippines, like in province level style. They're okay, but they're not like, the burgers that you expect from, like, if you go to sit down and eat, which is like the place we went to in Cebu. But man, that burger was good. We tried the dessert, was really good. And then also as well, we were just so full. Like that Monday we were full, and then that Tuesday we were full, and it's to the point where it's like, it's kind of similar to like, essentially where when you just have so much in your body and just like, you don't want to eat anything anymore. That's basically what it was, man. It's just like when it came to Tuesday night, we're just like, I don't want to eat no more. So it's like, yeah. And then also too, we did a lot of walking. Like I think those past 2 days, like we ended up doing like 10K while I was recording, and it was like at least 10K steps a day, which is great. So we did a lot of walking, we did a lot of eating, but it was just like, again, like I was trying to schedule some time with one of my people I met here in TikTok, one of my mutual friends, but just like, man, we don't have the time. I don't have the time. Like, like it's trying, like you're trying to make time for someone, but it's just like same thing when you're so occupied with what you came there for. So like, if anything, like, I do definitely want to meet people from the ones who I became friends with here in TikTok, but just like having more time to do it. So that's the challenge I have. We're just like having more time to do it. We're essentially being able to do that, because I think in the future, maybe in the beginning of the year, we're probably gonna meet some people I met here on TikTok. Hopefully that includes the one that was in Cebu. But basically, for the most part, it's just like when I talked about it again, it's just like going to another province, you need more than 3 days. Like, and also too, if you're going there for a reason, obviously, like my brother was going for some appointment he wanted to check out. He was checking out something. It basically, like, also too, like the obligations, like my brother's friend went there because he recently got his SSRV. So it's like the senior citizen card for, I think, non-Filipinos. They had like an event or something over there in Cebu, but like, for example, having a dinner and everything. So like we're kind of had my brother wanted to hang out with his friend, and then we're kind of stuck with that, that schedule. And then me and my brother were trying to do like things through the mall, and he had to do his own thing, so I was tagging along with him. And then it's just like, it was hard to plan anything. So like anything outside of what we originally were going to do, it was a challenge. So maybe next time, I'm hoping, cross my fingers, we get to a point where we're just like, okay, maybe I can just go by myself, and then I can just go for a day or two, whatever it's, if we're going to meet like friends or whatnot that we meet, through TikTok. Because eventually, dude, there are certain people I do want to meet through TikTok, which I believe we will. It's just a matter of making time for it, because people are doing shit. So like, and also too, I don't want to be in a position where I feel like I have to force people to see me. You know what I mean? Like even too, like also get into a position where, like, I don't chase nobody. So like, even if they want to spend time with me and blah blah blah, I'm not gonna chase. If you say like, if you say like you don't have time, then I'm gonna respect your time, right? Or it just has to be a position where you just have to tell me like, hey, let's go hang out. You have time to do this, blah blah blah, and we'll make things work. So yeah, like at the end of the day, like I absolutely want to go meet people that I meet here, the ones I'm actually close with, in a sense. But yeah, I just need something where it's just like it's more arranged. Time is more arranged around that, because like it's so difficult, like to do try to plan something. She has to be co-hoster. Try to plan something, but it's so difficult to plan when you already have things to do already. So I was just restricted to that. And then also too, like when it came to like Tuesday night and then we left Wednesday morning, it was just, we were so exhausted already. Like I was already sleeping by the time we were done, I was already sleeping by 10 o'clock. Like even my the person I'm a mod with, y'all know her, is like Moisa girl. Like I usually will go there, she's not like I'm forced to, it's not like I'm forced to be her mod. I'm there to do it. But like, I was tired. So I think I was on her live for maybe like an hour. No, less than an hour. And I went to sleep. So like, you can imagine how busy it is with all the walking we did, with all the things we ate and all that stuff. Like, our time was occupied. And again, it's just like, I go back to saying again, just like the, leaving, like having more time to do stuff, essentially. It also helps. Oh, look at my CPU. My CPU is going crazy right now. What the heck? But basically having enough where you're essentially, making time for individuals. So like, yeah. So going on a trip with somebody, like if you're going to meet someone mutually in Cebu, like just like having something around that, not being in a position where just like, holy goodness. Like, for example, trying to add stuff in, because that's where it's so challenging, man. The challenge I have to deal with, we're just like, I'm trying to figure out what my CPU went crazy. Hold on. Try to see something. Give me a second. Why your CPU go so crazy fast? Hi. That was interesting. Anyway, I have the power to support it. I just saw my CPU go so high with this, but anyway, just like, yeah, it's hard to plan stuff when you're already initially going for one reason. And then you come to find out, like, even if you're trying to put some time into certain things and you can't. So, and it's mind you too. I remember even the person I want to meet over in Cebu was just like, this is the second attempt at it, and it just like had no time. But it's what it is. I think I always believe like, we'll all meet, whether people want to meet or not. We'll all meet at one point, and it just when the right time comes, we will. Because I think there's like, there's the one that's coming up that I do want to meet some people, and they're like, oh, they're all gonna come. We're gonna come out there. Maybe we'll just meet in Cebu. And it's like, yeah, we can do that. We can absolutely do that. So yeah, that's what we did for the past couple of days. We were in Cebu. We were doing that. I was able to get some American stuff. Like, you don't understand. Like, there are certain, even though I am in a sense, I am adjusted here in the Philippines, which I am, 100% am. I feel like I am. I have the Filipino patience. Like even like today, oh my goodness, like going to a home, like we went to Triumph. It's like a hardware store here in the Philippines. Like just having the amount of patience for things to get done, and like here's my dad. The expectations, like my dad's in his late 70s too, so he's kind of a little impatient. But like he's just spewing things like, where's everyone doing, blah 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 blah, why is it taking so long, this and that. And I'm just like sitting here, it's like, this is the Philippines, things are a little bit longer here. And that's where just like the things you have to get used to as well, just like that's crazy how it's going so high. But yeah, just like it's just like the things you have to get adjusted to, and just seeing people like just telling my dad just like to calm down. It's just like, what can you do? It's the Philippines. And it's just like it's just like shows for me and myself in a sense we're just like how adjusted we are to everything at this point, and we are. And it's like coming from an individual where just like we were essentially living from the United States where everything's so fast paced, and like you have the comfortability to have something go down the street and get any particular thing that you want, or if it's not available with you physically, you can go to Amazon and get it in the next 2 days or less than that, or the same day. Obviously that's not available here in the Philippines, and there's some adjustments you have to do, so that's the things where like, for example, like getting accustomed to certain things. And just saw it today with my dad, just like, oh my god, just like relax. It's the Philippines. And it's just like, I think sometimes just like letting go. I think the expectation, even my dad, who just has like expectations like, oh, people need to learn here, people learn it this way, this is the standard of the United States. But I'm just looking back and just like, yeah, that's the United States. It's the Philippines. Philippines is different. It's still mind-boggling to me. We're just like, even when you're saying you're signing contracts to buy a house, signing contracts to buy a house, and then the amount of paperwork that you have to do to fill out, literally here. Like, I kid you not, I had to sign for this house. I had to sign paperwork that was about maybe, I don't know, what was it, about, I think 30 pages of stuff, but I had to do it 5 times. So, and the goal here is I had the signature every single page. So I had to do 30 signatures times 5, 150 signatures. I don't know why Philippines likes to use paper so much. And, you know, obviously in the comfortability over in the United States, everything is all electronic. You know what I mean? It's all electronic in the United States. So it's like everything is done web. Like you don't have to use all this paper. You don't have to sign things 10 million times. Like even like the utilization in the United States of DocuSign, where basically you can just put your signature once and it applies everywhere it needs to be. That's one of the things I wish sometimes like the Philippines had, where just like, you know, get more technology savvy. Like, and it'll take a lot. I mean, obviously it's a perception change in the Philippines, where it's just like, you know, getting to like more of the digital age here, and it's gonna take some time. I don't even know when they'll get to be, but like, just again, why am I saying that? Just like the adjustments of living here in the Philippines, where just like expecting that it's gonna take longer than it should. And I see so many examples where just like I'm just like I'm not gonna even bother I'm not even gonna bother just being worrying about it, because it's what it is in the Philippines. And that's like, you know, for example, like I bring up my dad's things because of the fact of like my dad, like we ended up buying, so one, you know, we were buying a mini fridge for their room, for their stuff. And then like my dad was just sitting there like putting his arm. I was like, where's all these people, blah blah blah. And like my dad was a little impatient. He's older, so he's a little impatient. I'm just telling my dad, like, this is the Philippines. Just deal with it. And then just like, you know, it's putting his arms in the way, and just like, oh, we are the customer, you know, the American mentality is just like, oh, customer's number one, they should do it this way, this is that. But it's like, this is the Philippines. So anyway, it's just like I wanted to bring that up because I'm, you know, this kind of segues to like, you know, for the experience of the Cebu's and what things I had to do. Like once I even got back to Cebu, like for example, there was things I had to take care of here at the house, and then not to mention like, you know, the regular stuff I do, where just like, you know, bring my dad places. I tell you, that's a journey within itself. Sometimes like, you know, me and my dad are so headstrong in a sense where it's just like he's at a point, and I think it kind of affects him sometimes, where it's just like he doesn't wear his hearing aids. It seems as if I'm yelling at him because he can't hear me. So that's one of the challenges I deal with. Like, you know, it comes with his age, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I always have to remind him, just thought about it today, where I have to remind him, just like, you gotta wear your hearing aids so you don't get this perspective that I'm yelling at you. Because like, yeah, I am headstrong as well, but just like, you know, for example, I'm we went to that hardware place today, and my dad was trying to return some paint or exchange some paint for something else, and then he bought something where it didn't have the you know, the tool that needs to lock something in place. He bought like a small portable electric cutter, and I guess he just got the equipment, but he didn't get everything else. So one, we didn't have a receipt, and I didn't know we didn't have a receipt. So like my brother did this transaction. So I go over there, and then my dad's like, oh, we need to return this, speaking in English. And that's one thing I cringe. Like, you know, I know maybe it's like a source of like, it's just like my dad showing like his proudness when he starts speaking English. Like, so he was speaking English to like the individuals there and just telling him what he needs and blah blah blah. But like, you know, he was explaining to them like, oh, I'm missing this, you can't lock this, blah blah blah, this and this and that, I need to change this paint. And I was asking my dad, like, where's the receipt? He's like, I don't have a receipt. So like, I'm just like, what the fuck? So like, you know, and it's funny too, because like my brother didn't tell me anything, and then also too, like, it was one of the things where just like it was a certain, like, you know, it was spur of the moment. My dad was like, oh, we need to go to the mall, do this. I was like, okay. So I didn't know anything about it, and then we get there. Mind you, Philippines, like the difference in help in the United States versus like here in the Philippines is they're so much more welcoming. So like, even though we did not have the receipt and whatnot, basically they were still able to fire their stuff in the system. It was more hilarious. Like, you know, we were able to get the receipt and then get to attempt to exchange the paint. So why I'm saying exchange, they don't have a return policy in this place. Yeah, you can only exchange. So it's hilarious because like the paint that my dad was trying to get, they didn't have it. So we weren't able to exchange it at all. But we ended up buying a fridge. And then, you know, for example, like, you know, this is where my dad was getting frustrated, and he was just like, you know, and I get it. And like, it's more of my dad getting mad at me for no reason at all because of the fact that he can't hear me. So he thinks I'm yelling at him. So he was just like, oh, you're trying to challenge me and this and that. I'm like, no, I'm just telling you because like, and I didn't realize, and I was looking at it, he didn't even have his hearing aids on. So it's just like, it's harder to like talk to him because he can't hear. So I had to calm him down a bit and just like, like all this stuff. And mainly this stuff I deal with every day. So like, this is why I go back to like, like if you think my life is perfect, it's not. Even though, and it's the same thing, just like, yeah, I hold myself here together, but this is a pure example of what I'm saying. Like you can do essentially what you can because I'm a human just like you. I have my own stuff I have to deal with. My daily battles with people where they feel like I'm yelling at them. I'm really not. It's just like, it's just the way my personality is and who I am. And I don't like to beat around the bush with shit. I don't. I just go from here's A to B. Like my brother is good at talking in lengths and just saying like, hey, this is what you should do, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, Dad, everything's good. Like I do that too, but just like, I like going straight to the point. So like sometimes like they feel like I'm, trying to be cocky and that's not. But again, I've talked about this before. We're just like, the challenges of being a son of two 70-plus-year-old parents. And everyone will experience this and have experienced it. So it's just like, the journey of just like dealing with it is I have to deal with it. Even though it seems like even the ride home, like my dad thinks I'm like arguing with him and just like, I'm not. He's like, you trying to challenge me to everything? I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, I think it's more of just like, I not wasting your time. Why do I want to waste my time on this and blah, blah, blah. Or like, and like my dad was asking me questions. Why do you ask so many questions? And I was like, yeah, because I need to ask questions because I need to know what the heck we're doing. I need to know what the details are. Like, I don't know. I think it's just like, for example, my dad's expectations of stuff, and obviously he's older, so he's just like more impatient, and it even amplifies it where he doesn't wear his hearing aids. So number one, if you have a parent or individual who doesn't wear the hearing aids, remind them to wear the hearing aids because you'll be in a perspective where they feel like they're yelling at you. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I went to Cebu for a minute just to get, kind of some sort of reprieve and get some stuff that we needed to get. Hung out with my brother's friends and whatnot. We got some good eats. And then came back here. And it's funny because it's like, I look at it as again, where essentially like it's just the amount of time you need to actually embrace another province or wherever you're going to go. It definitely needs to be more than 3 days. Unless you're going there to that place with no plans, and then you're able to essentially make plans when they happen. That's perfect, right? That's freaking perfect when you can do stuff like that. So hopefully next time, like when this actually comes to the moment that, oh, all these people want to go hang out, then we'll do stuff specifically for that. Or try to be in a way where we're just like there for a longer moment of time, a longer period of time. So that, we're able to do the things we want to do. So anyway, so that's where I've been. We talked about like just the journey of why I do all this stuff, because I feel like, there's probably a lot of people who've met me who haven't seen me or seen me for the first time and they know who the fuck I am. Well, this is who I am. I'm Joe Lobo. I'm a human just like you, but my main thing is I'm a podcaster. I may sing, I may play some music sometimes, I may play some video games horribly, but at the end of the day, my passion or my purpose, my why is to inspire people. And how do I inspire people? Through my podcast. And I show you examples even in my human life of I'm just like you, go through the same challenges and the resilience, and showing the resiliency of myself and seeing the things I have to do. But at the end of the day, believing that when it comes to what is your why and what is your purpose, believing it enough that you believe it and you don't get to a position where you are so inundated by other people saying you can't do it, that you actually get to a position where you yourself believe it, that you can do it. And this is where I try to tell, this is why I try to tell you all, and this is why I show with examples of just not talking about, not just talking about like, my words and inspirations, but giving examples of my life as well. A little bit what I can share. Obviously, I'm not going to share everything in my life because this is social media, and this is like, I'm not going to show my public knowledge of like where I'm at or of who I am and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, for the most part, just showing you that I'm a human myself and then going through the same problems. Like, I did make the mention of like the lowest. I had some low moments a couple of days ago, but it's just like the rebound of it. I mean, also too, just like the daily stuff I have to deal with my parents, of how they feel that, you know, I'm just more direct. I think it's more direct than just like, I hate wasting my time. Like, I try to be as, you know, soft as I can with my parents, but it's just like, man, we'll just go A and B. We don't need to do all this stuff. I mean, and that's why I'm happy my brother's here, because he can do all that stuff he can. Because like for me, it's just like, it's a challenge. But this is the challenge I have every day, guys. 100%. This is a challenge I have every day. So anyway, there was stuff I wanted to talk about. It's just like one of the things, like and it's branched off a conversation I had with a person out here. You know, it's one of the things where you feel like, you know, when you see people here and they look so happy and they're so joyful and this and that, but what they don't, sometimes there are individuals who don't really show what they're going through, right? And then you know, you might be in a position where they tell you what's going on and they feel like they themselves are going through the lowest and the lows, and they just want to give up and they want to no longer proceed with the stuff because they're so tired and inundated with everything that they feel is out of their control and whatnot, right? And this individual is telling me that, and it's just like, they're telling me like, you know, what I show you on live, yes, I'm smiling and then, you know, being happy and this and that. And this all started because, like, you know, I pay attention to like when I show and I provide myself to people who are my friends in a sense, right? You're getting the genuine individual who cares, right? Like, if you're running through shit and you're going through problems, or I'm gonna ask questions like, "Are you okay? Is everything good?" Like normally what a friend should say if we are considered friends. If we say we are friends in a sense, right? We're not just acquaintances, but we say we're friends. When you show me things or seems like you're going through something, I'm gonna ask like, what's going on? And then that's where we had this conversation where it's just like, you know, the person was telling me that they were running through some circumstances in their life where they feel like they're at the lowest of lows. They want to just give up. They're kind of at the point where just like, you know, whatever they do is not working, and they wanted to just say, forget it, if you know what I mean. And my advice, and I always want to say this because, like, you know, sometimes people will go into circumstances they feel like, you know, they're at the crossroads, or they can't do anything anymore, or they feel like it's time just to let it go, if you know what I mean. What I'm telling you, and this is the same thing I told the person, is just like, you have to realize that, you know, you're bigger than who you are. And I just like saying like, and I think what I was trying to tell them is just like, when I said that you're bigger than you are, just like, you know, the stuff you're dealing with, the stuff you're putting in your mind to think that like you're at the lowest of lows and this is the worst ever, like you can't get out of it, like you just want to just give up and all this stuff, and just telling them like, this is all the stuff you're dealing with is temporary. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to just give the person, to her. So I was trying to mask the he, she, but it is a her. She was telling me like, you know, like what she was going through. And then she's like, and I was telling her just like, you know, like everyone, you know, you just got to find a way or a medium to handle it in a nice way. You know, I wanted to approach the situation in the sense where just like I was at least providing her some comfort in a way. Like, again, and I have to interject this. If you call me your friend, right? I'm going to be your friend. 100%. I will try to do in my thing, you know, what I can provide you. I can't provide you everything, but I can at least provide you comfort of just how you get things. I'm going to show my presence and show you what I can tell you. At least give you some inspiring words and thoughts just to think differently. Like this is what I was trying to do with that individual. We were just like, you know, with her, when I was telling you, like, you know, you're probably dealing with a ton of shit, and she has been dealing with a ton of shit. She's gone through a lot of stuff, especially with, you know, the most hardest stuff ever when someone leaves you, if you know what I mean. She was dealing with that, and then just compiling of stuff, you know, using losing a loved one, and then the other stuff that you have in your life where just like, it feels like everything's falling apart. Like I was telling her, just like, only if you knew. And I tell people here, like, shit, I've gone through shit like that as well. Like, honestly, like when I was younger, and there's some fits and starts I have sometimes where, be at the lowest of low, and you're thinking you're worthless, and you're thinking like you can't do anything. You feel like it's time just to give up. You know what I mean? Or you come to a purpose, and why you think about like, what's my purpose here? Why am I here? Like if no one is even listening to what I'm trying to say, why am I here? Why don't I just give up? And then it's just like, it's one of the things like where I was telling her, just like, you got to get to a point where you just believe in yourself enough where just like, you can get out of these circumstances. Like, and I was trying to tell her too, is like, it's not going to be like an instant, okay, you're good tomorrow. No, it's not. It's a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress where you just like have to, by baby stepping into it, just try to find a median where, essentially you can get better at the healing process, I guess you can say. Find methods or avenues where it can help you get to a position where like it makes the situation a little bit better mentally, or you're able to handle the circumstance. Like instead of having a negative aspect of it, right? And I was telling her, just like try to get to a position where you're giving yourself some confidence and giving some re-belief that everything's going to be fine. And again too, just like in a way as well, like, there's so much that you can do and say to people in a way where like, again, it's really up to the individual what they want to decide to do and what they want to be. But like the only thing you can do as a friend is just to console them in a way. You console them in the way where you just tell them like, hey, I'm here to support you. Here's what I think. And I was just trying to tell her, just give her words of encouragement. Or just like, it's not as terrible as it can't be as bad as you think it could be. And and then just looking at how the age range, and I'm thinking she is a little bit younger than I am. And I was just like, you're still have a long life to handle. And I was just trying to reiterate to her, just like, like you got to look at the better side of this. And we're just like, try to find the momentum to get you to a position where you are going to be okay. You are going to be able to handle it. Like, just get you to a position where you're thinking like, okay, you know what? Take a deep breath, take a step back, find out, like realize and understand that it's going to be okay. Because it's always going to be okay. I mean, everything we deal with is all temporary. Even if it's a lot, yes, the most challenging things in life to deal with is the loss of a loved one. I've had that many in my life. And it's challenging as fuck, but like through baby steps, you'll get better. You improve it. I'm always a firm believer, even the loved ones that you think that disappear from your eyes, they're always around us. They are. In my opinion, they are. Your loved ones who have gone beyond you, they are. Just gotta believe they are. And then if you call their names and you miss them, they always will be there with you. That's what I believe. But I mean, like going back to her, like, for example, it's just like all the culminations of things that she was dealing with. And just like, I was trying to just reiterate to her, just like, don't give up. And that's why I tell you too, like, if you are ever in a position where like you feel like it's, there's so much is out of your control and you feel like you want to give up already. And I'm not going to say the word here, but you know what I mean. Just believe and know that there are probably people rooting for you. And it's the same thing I left her with. It's just like, there are probably people rooting for you that you don't realize are rooting for you. Even the individuals, the loved ones that, they went beyond us. Like, I'm pretty sure they're rooting for you to succeed. And I was just trying to reiterate to her, just like, it's going to be okay. And this is why I tell you folks, individuals, if you ever feel like you're in a position where you feel like everything's out of your control, like, try to find individuals you can talk to that you can actually handle this conversation. Like, again, there are some people that really can't handle this conversation. That's perfectly fine. But it's always those individuals that you have in your pocket where just like, like, for example, for me, like if you get to know me, we get to a position or point where we're actually friends, and that you see why I actually care for you. Like, when it comes to deep conversations like this, like, you can always rely on an individual like me, and I'll tell you what I can tell you that hopefully, at the end of the day, hopefully it's going to help benefit you. Now, again, everyone's dealing with stuff. I tell you too, I deal with a ton of shit as well. like we're humans. But the biggest thing I can tell you is like once you get over those I guess you can say demons you have, where it's just like the things that are bothering you or things that are affecting your daily life, and you're able to conquer them and get over them, get beyond them, it just makes you stronger. It really does. It makes you stronger. And I want to say that is because of the fact that, like, maybe these point of the events that you're happening in your life is just preparing you for the next level. Like when it gets to a point where things are even twice as difficult and you have to deal with more important, more harsher stuff, I guess you can say, at least you'll be in a position to be more resilient, to be like, okay, we got this. And sometimes you need some means to just to ease it off a little bit, where it's like if it means like just taking a deep breath. And that's why I tell her, like for her, if she is even listening to me, I don't know if she's watching here or not, but like I tell her, just take a deep breath, take a step back. And this is why I reiterated to her is like, find mediums to and she knows, I think she's aware of what I do, but find mediums where like they are able to get you to a position where you don't have to worry about stuff so much, right? Whether it's like, and this is why I do it. This is why, for example, I offer to folks here, like, this is why I meditate, right? I meditate here because of the fact of, wow, our CPU is going super high. I wonder why. But this is why I meditate, where it's basically to alleviate my stress, alleviate the concern, makes the things I worry about less evident, or even like I say too, like I also utilize this to basically, help with my manifestation, or with law of attraction, or just like help me visualize the things I want to do, and also too as well, basically get me to a point of position where we're like I'm at the next version of myself, as you mean, like the next best version of myself. So like going back to like those individuals who are feeling they're low and everything, right? Just remember that you have people you can talk to. You just have to make yourself available. Don't put yourself in the position that you're by yourself, because I'm pretty sure there's probably individuals who are dealing with the same shit that you're dealing with, but they found a way and out of how to deal with it, right? So what I would tell you is just like, I don't want everyone to think that like, oh, they have to get to a position. If you ever get to that position where you feel like you just want to give up, you don't want to give up. Like, you have so much in your life to be appreciative of, and that's one of the things I realized. Maybe that's the reason why I had to hear that from that individual, is because like having that lowest of the low moment I had earlier, where just like, I was thinking about like, and I kind of divulged about like a little bit, which is like the friend part, and I was fun, seeing my brother's friends, and he's made a network of friends. And yes, I done the same thing, but mine is more on social media, not really physically here. I think it's because I put a lot of effort into my social media stuff here. Just like, I focus and prioritize and made friends here, but to me, it's fine. But physically, like, yeah, of course it's a pain in the ass sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm missing out on certain shit, but like, it's what it is. And I think for me to even hear that, I think it made me realize like, yeah, there's a lot of other people who are dealing with way worse shit. And it's just like, it allowed me to just revitalize and think about, and just like, okay, let me get back on my feet. Let me be the individual I am, where it's just like, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna work out. I'm just getting way too ahead of myself. And this is the thing about me. I'm one of those individuals where like I think too much sometimes, right? I do think a lot. I do think about things. I think of circumstances. I always try to think 5-10 steps ahead. Sometimes thinking 5-10 steps ahead can also give you worry. And this is where it all ties in again, just like, I'm human, right? I as much as like sometimes in my mind I want to be like as perfect as I can be, like essentially I know I can't be perfect, But at least I can just make sure that, okay, well, let's make sure I cover all bases. And this is why, like, going back to my dad, I was like, why you ask so many questions? Because, like, yeah, because fucking, I want to make sure that I know what the situation is. I want to know what's going on. I want to know, that's me, right? I want to know details. I want to know, be specific. Like, I hate when, that's another pet peeve of mine when I have individuals who are just like, they give you limited information. Like, and you're just like trying to figure something out, and they say, oh, it's X, Y. And then I was like, where's the rest of the alphabet? And then just like, holy goodness, like, what the fuck? So, like, I think for me, it's just like, because I do that because, like, I want to be prepared for shit. I don't want to be in a position where I'm unprepared. Like, this is the best example. We went to Cebu, right? And for me, I make sure I have my battery pack. I make sure I have extra shit. So in the event if my phone were to die, I have a power bank, right? Here goes my brother, and it's just like the same shit I always see with him. It's just like, he's those individuals. Maybe that's you, but you need to work on that shit. Where, like, you drain your battery to 10%, and then you're going to a vacation. You're like, oh my god, my battery's dying. Do you have your charger? I'm like, what the fuck? And then that's a pet peeve of mine. Which is like, fuck, man, like do you? And I think my head's like, do you plan for trips? Like, how do you do? What happens? You have no battery. And he was like, that's the same thing too. Just like trying to handle conversations and people, which is individuals like, oh, they're very, very nonchalant. Like, I'll find something. I'll charge my phone, so I can charge my phone somewhere. Like, and I'm like, holy fuck, like it's better to be prepared so you don't run into circumstances where you have to find a charge. Like, same thing too is just like, for people, like, I make sure I have gas in my car, right? There are other individuals that they'll run to empty, and then also when they run out of gas, they're like, oh, what do I do? Well, fuck. That's why I avoid myself again in those circumstances, because it's like, shit, I don't want to be in that circumstance where I'm running out of gas, especially here in the Philippines. I don't want to run out of gas here in the Philippines. How the fuck would you think? At least I know Cebuano a little bit, so I can always find a way to get gas. But it's just like, fuck. And like, some people, I cease to understand how they live like that. Like, for my brother's piece, like, I don't know how he can live without having a dead phone. Like, how hard is it to make sure your phone's charged, or how hard is it to make sure that you have a battery pack, a power bank for you, so that in the event that you run into situations where, your phone's running out of battery, you have a power bank. I don't know. That's just me, right? I want to ask questions. I think we're getting off sidetracked a little bit, but I want to ask questions and, like, make sure I'm prepared. But going back to what we're talking about, right? Everything will be okay. I think that's the most important thing about this. Like, amid what the stuff you're dealing with, all the shit you're dealing with, like, understand there's probably a reason why the universe or God or whatever you believe in has put you in this circumstance. They're probably putting you this to see, like, get you to a point that you're mentally stronger, if you know what I mean. That's what I believe. Like, I think they're putting you in these circumstances because when it happens again, you'll be better prepared at it. So like your armor, if you think about, like, for example, if you had armor, I guess, and whatnot, and you wanted to make sure it's the best armor ever, you're probably gonna keep on practicing and prodding on it to make sure it's gonna be the best material ever, so you can have the best armor out there. So, like, that's why I tell people, just like, you just have to take a step back, believe it's going to be okay. And yes, I know it's fucking the shit sometimes people deal with, and it's terrible. Yeah, it can be fucking terrible. I get it. But just, like, have belief and just know it's going to be okay. Again, me as an individual telling another person who's going through the shit about, like, what they're telling me. Yes, of course. You got to be wary what you say, because, like, obviously some people take it the wrong way, and you don't want them to be offended of what you're going to say and whatnot. So you have to obviously pick and choose your battles, how you say shit. But, like, at the most point, like, for you as an individual, right? And what I was trying to tell her is just like, it's going to be okay. Like, and I remember having a conversation with her before, and, like, it's just like with something similar but different. But it's just like, she was going through the same shit, and I was just like, hey, it's going to be okay. And everything seemed like it was okay. She's still moving along, if you know what I mean. So, like, again, it goes back to, like, going back to you all, like, it's just like the things we deal with life, even if it's the lowest of the low, having the smallest, even minuscule belief that everything's gonna be okay? It will. It 100% will. I don't think we're put in this life, and some people might think so. For me, agree to disagree. I don't feel like we're put in this life to struggle. I think the struggle that we put is in ourselves, 100%. The pressures, the fears, obviously the anxiety, like the differences we have among people that you put on ourselves. Like all this unnecessary effort to make us go crazy or whatever it is. Like, we put this on ourselves to be stressed out. And then that's where it's just like, if I say that, right? If I'm saying this to you, it's just like you're putting too much effort in yourself. Then who do you think changes it? Who do you think can fix that? It's you. You can fix that. You can find ways and avenues to get yourself better. Yes, it may take time. Believe me, I know it can take time to get to a better version of yourself. But once you realize, and that's the best part of this, is once you realize that if you've gone beyond dealing with the circumstances you were dealing with, I'm pretty sure you'll look at it as like, wow, I came a long way. I came a long way from dealing with this stuff. And it's just like, and that's another thing too as well, where you realize like the people, the folks, the individuals who are here with you, they're getting you through those battles, and you realize how important they are in your lives. And that's sometimes what I feel like, some people miss that. The individuals who've helped you through the roughest of the rough, like the actual individuals who want to know you in the roughest of the rough. Those are the quality individuals you want to get to know. Like, I mean, it's wild sometimes where people will nonchalantly not pay attention to that shit, and then they probably in one ear out the other of when people are asking support, we're just like, yeah. But going back to what I'm saying, like, these are the type of individuals that you want in your life, where they're trying to up level you. Those are the people you want. Like, it goes back to like this shit where like I'm doing this in service of you is because I want to up level you, up level the individual who's listening to me, up level the people who are watching me right now. I mean, you may believe it or not, there's probably a reason why you're here, because you want to get inspired some way of like what I'm gonna say. I don't know, but I mean, for the most part, just like, I think it's just like being less, like, not taking it too hard on yourself. I know sometimes life can be so fucking wild where just like, you feel like you can't breathe anymore, like physically can't breathe anymore, and you feel like this is it. I don't want you to think that. And it's hard for you. Again, I understand. People are telling me right now, like, how the fuck can you say that shit? You don't have to deal with my stuff. You haven't dealt with the stuff I dealt with. This and that. Yeah, I have not. But wouldn't it be better if you just try to get yourself in a position where you're trying to improve beyond it? You know what I mean? If you try to improve beyond it, where you feel as if, you're more than capable when it comes to the next event that's similar to that, you're able to handle it better. And just having the belief where maybe someone needs to tell you it's going to be okay. Just know it's going to be okay. Even though right now at this moment, maybe you don't believe in any of the shit that the person's telling you. Like, how the fuck are you going to tell me this is going to be okay? You have no clue what I'm dealing with. Yeah, okay, I don't. But if you don't get yourself in the position where it's just like you believe it's going to be okay, then how do you expect any of this to be okay? This is where it goes back to, like, when I mentioned about the law of attraction. You know what I mean? Like, for people who believe it, to each his own. If you don't believe in it, you might think it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Joe? Agree to disagree with me. But like, I mean, like with the law of attraction, like if you're saying in your mind, just saying like, this is a shitty day, or this is fucked up, or this is that, or I'm never gonna get ahead, I'm never gonna get this, I'm never gonna get that, blah 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 blah. Then by design, the law of attraction is like, yes, you're not getting any of that shit. You're never gonna be this. You're terrible. Because you know why? Because you're telling the universe, law of attraction, that you can't do any of it. And this is why, like, for example, like when I say you empower yourself, like to get in a position where you're more than capable to do anything that you can do, right? you want to say things of inspiration for yourself because of the fact of just understand the people, whether it's God, you know what I mean, whatever it's God that's enabling to do the avenues for you, he or she is probably just saying yes to everything you're saying. Everything you're saying. Agree to disagree, folks. Everything you're saying. So whatever the stuff you're bitching about, or the things you're worried about, or the things you're grateful about, the answer is always yes. And this is where, like, you know, the attitude of gratitude is so fucking important, because of the fact of having the smallest sense of gratitude can lead to the biggest treasures that you yourself have not even seen, but they're just waiting for you. Now, tying this back to, like, you know, my friend is just like, you know, just giving the reassurance. I don't know what else that person's dealing with, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know everything. It's not my business to know everything. Like, I leave it to people where they don't want to tell me shit, then shit. Only tell me what you need to know. It's not my business anyway. It's just like how people can, like, you know, there's probably tons of people that they are easy and able to tell you everything about their life, and there's some like, I'm not gonna tell you shit. And it's just like, or even the individuals who are just like, hey, did you hear what this person did of their life and their stuff? I don't want to hear it. For me personally, I don't want to hear anyone's business. And also too is like, I always tell individuals as well, just like, whatever you tell me is your business. No one else needs to know about shit. Like, that's another thing too, is like, you know, there are people who, like, when they hear something from an individual and they say, like, you're not supposed to say anything, but they tell other people. That's not me. So if you tell me, like, something that you don't want people to know, I respect that. I ain't gonna say shit, because it's not my business. And I say the same shit equally to the other individuals. Like, yeah, if I tell you certain things about, like, you know, about my personal life that I don't want you to divulge anyone else, I expect you to do the same shit for me. You know what I mean? And that's what one thing I tell folks is just like, you know, it's your business. Why would I say anything? Like, if the stuff we're talking about, no one else needs to know. But going back to that, it's just like that conversation I was talking about. Just like, even if you're going through the lowest of lows, just understand that there's always, again, it's the cliche thing, but I firmly believe it. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel for anything you fucking do. Like, I want you to make sure you understand that, you know, like, even if you're going through the lowest of the lows, and maybe it derails like what you're doing right now, right? It derails what you're doing right now because of the fact of there's so much more priorities to do things, and it makes you feel, you know, it makes you feel sad. Again, try to get to a position where just like, you know, that it's going to be okay. It will. It has to be okay. It cannot just be consecutively worse. How bad can it be? And this is what the same thing too. It's just like I really feel there are reasons why people get into certain events in their life. Like, maybe it is the worst of the worst, but like, fuck, like, there's probably reasons why you're doing it, because you know what? It's preparing you for the next level. It's just like this journey here. Like, I was talking to my cousin about, like, you know, how, or even telling, like, you saw her earlier, Mommy Shar. Like, I was like, I really think that I can, you know, I can make a cat moo. It's the fucking truth. Like, honestly, like, I really feel that, you know, I can do that shit. But the thing is, you have to build yourself to that position, right? You cannot just be like, unless you have magic powers instantly that you can, like, you can be this individual, you can be a chameleon to be like, oh, I can be the best, have the golden tongue of the century. It takes time and repetition and effort to get to the position I am. Like, even for me, like, it surprises me sometimes where I can just keep on talking, and it's crazy. Like, I can keep on talking, but yeah, it took me a while to get here. I always have to phrase again. Like, you know why? The reason I talk like this, I can just keep on talking and talking, because those events when I first started here in TikTok, and it was just only here in TikTok, where just like there are times you can see in the top right, and the top right will tell you like the amount of people watching you, where it would always consistently be 0 for like 30 minutes, meaning no one's watching you. However, there's always someone watching you. Like, doesn't mean that if there's no one here, I'm pretty sure I see a lot of people here watching me, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people outside of my channel who are looking at me in FYP or probably watching me right now. But like, in the same thing too, just like talking about that, where like, I'm not going to stop. If my thing is I'm a podcaster, right? I got to keep on talking. Like, imagine me as a podcaster. I'm touting I'm a podcaster tonight, and then you come into my room, and I'm not saying shit. I'm just staring at the screen, doing this. How is that any of an advantage for you? If you're trying to even to, like, you know, at the end of the day, like you're promoting yourself, you're selling yourself, you're branding yourself, right? Like if you come to a room and they're not talking, do you think that person's gonna come in your room again? Probably not. So this is where, like, you know, building to the position we are now has led us to here, where we can keep on talking. Like how we can talk about the multitude of things. None of the shit that we talked about today was planned. Maybe the topics were a little bit planned. Just talking about, okay, I went to Cebu and did all this stuff. The interactions of just believing in yourself, and it's not the end of the world. Like, yeah, but I mean, for the most part, this is the stuff that you keep on working on. This is the task you have to keep on doing. It's just like singing, for example. Like you have to get a position where you are, you know, you have to keep on practicing on the singing piece, because, like, you know, how do you expect to get better at it? How do you expect more people to come and follow you? How do you expect people to understand, like, oh, this guy can actually sing and do this certain stuff? You have to practice at it. That's like for example, like with singing, like even for me, that's why I do singing exercises, because like singing exercises actually fucking work. Same thing as me talking here as a podcast, everybody. Just like, you know, in order for you to get to the position like I am at, where you can just keep on talking and not worry about what other people think. I mean, even like how I'm probably there's people like probably look at me, it's like, damn, that this is what you look like in person. Ew. I don't give a fuck. But I think for the most part, being comfortable with your own self, and the only way you can be comfortable with the uncomfortable is you do shit with repetition. You do shit over and over and over. So it kind of goes back to, again, rewinding a little bit back to like where we were talking about where the people thinking that it's like it's over. It's, you know, this. It comes with repetition. You just got to believe in yourself that it's going to be okay. Take those deep breaths. Find a medium that some way, somehow will get you in the position that you're in a better state. Like I mentioned to you all here, just like, you know, for me, meditation helps me. Like today, I meditate twice a day. Sometimes I just meditate once. There are days where I feel like I gotta meditate twice a day. Like those are my avenues currently right now. And also too, add another avenue. As you probably see if you guys are on TikTok and you probably see my stories, I brought back me walking again. If it still starts, everyone, you gotta get your fitness on, man. We're at the age. I'm at the age range where you gotta get your fitness on. So basically, like just doing things to make you feel more energized, make you feel better. Baby steps to everything that you do, because eventually those baby steps will turn to leaps. Those leaps will turn to runs. You'll be probably fast as a cheetah, literally. So basically, like when I say that, just like just going back to, again, the individuals where you're going through stuff and you feel that, man, this is so much. I feel like I don't have control in anything and I can't do anything. I feel like everything's against me and I just feel like I can't handle this shit anymore. I'm just telling you that give yourself more benefit of the doubt. It may be terrible as fuck that what you're dealing with, and it may be the worst of whatever you're dealing with. I cannot imagine the magnitude of what it is, because I'm pretty sure my experiences to your experiences are really different, where I may have not even experienced, or you may have not experienced the shit that I have gone through, but how you as an individual can get better, how you as an individual can get to a position where you're stronger. It just comes with belief. It comes with a belief, folks. Like believing that it'll be okay. Taking a step back and just like taking those deep breaths. How cliche it fucking sounds, it actually works. When I tell people meditate, believe me, it works. Like again, with meditation, just same thing too, as well as like you cannot come, like I'll use the sense of podcasting. You cannot just go live once and say you're the best podcaster ever. You're gonna have fits and starts. You're gonna have challenges to last for 15 minutes because you don't know what the fuck to talk about. But believe me, in the perspective of what I'm doing right now, you'll get to a point where you can talk consecutively for 2 hours or longer, or whichever you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to make a marathon where you're trying to talk for like 24 hours. I don't fucking know. But it comes with experience. It comes with practice. It comes with doing things over and over. Like, just like with meditation, where, you know, people are telling me, there are a couple of people who told me recently, oh, I tried meditation, but it didn't work. And I was thinking in my head, like, how many times have you meditated? You can't just tell me once. And this is why I tell, like, you know, in order for, like, for example, for you, if you want meditation to work, you got to keep on doing it every day. You got to keep on doing it every day. And I tell people this genuinely. It's just like, okay, do it every day and see after 2 weeks, how are you? I bet you will be in a much better position mentally as you approach circumstances that it'll be probably much easier to deal with it. 100%. It's the same thing too. Like dealing with normal stresses in life, when you find avenues that make you feel better, whether it's exercising outside, whether it's listening to music, whether it's just doing something that gets your mind off of the shit, and then you'll be surprised of how far, and you get to a point that you realize, like, wow, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. So this is where I tell you all, just like, you know, put more faith in yourself. Believe that you can get through anything you can do. Find those avenues where just like, you know, essentially it's gonna be okay, where it makes you more prepared in the sense to know that it's gonna be all right, because it will. I honestly think it's gonna be, it will, because like it's you know, again, it goes back to what I said. I don't think we're putting it here in this world to go through the lowest and lows and just get completely battered down. It is to, if you are in that position where you feel like you're getting battered down, I think it's just preparing you for something great, where just like you're gonna be way more resilient and be able to handle it better. But it all starts with you. It really does. It all starts with you at the end of the day. Like, you yourself are putting the circumstances in yourself. You yourself are putting you in the position where just like, you know, you make you feel like, again, things out of control can put us in this position where, like, you know, like we're having issues, and that's fine. But like once you get out of it, and once you climb this mountain of doom that you put yourself into, you realize, damn, this is a tall mountain, and I just overcame it. And this is why I'm trying to inspire you, which is like, you know, if you feel like you're in any way where like you are the lowest of the low, or you're dealing with so much stuff and you don't know how to release or let go, one, there are always individuals that can always help you. You just have to find those people. Now, if your immediate people aren't like that, then you need to reevaluate your friends, because if they're telling you the shit and they're not even giving you valuable information to how to even better yourself, you need to question those type of friends. Because like there's a difference between like having actual genuine individuals with you, or people who just want to join you for I don't know what the fuck why, if they're not helping to support you. But like find those people. They will help you. Yes, maybe because of the circumstances of, you know, maybe the circumstances of this world, how it portrays us sometimes, where just like it can be, you know, it can be so crazy that it feels like we're choking at some point. But just like when you take a step back, or you find those people who can just like, you know, lay you down and say it's gonna be all right, you just gotta believe it's gonna be okay, because it will. And you just have to find those people who are going to help you get that support level. Yes, but at the end of the day, people can tell you in words of inspiration, but it starts with you. So finding your way of healing, finding whatever it is, trying to get you a position where you're not so stressed out about it. Maybe find solutions where just like it can alleviate the pressures you're dealing with. But at the end of the day, I always tell you, like, you know, what doesn't break you, it's just gonna make you stronger at the end of the day. That's the truth. Whatever breaks you, whatever doesn't break you, is just gonna make you stronger. So when it comes to next circumstance, where you're dealing with the same shit again, it was just like, okay, you'd be like, all right, I dealt with this before, it's gonna be okay. And it's the same thing as like for me, where like I look at it's like, you know, the stuff I mentioned before in my previous podcast as well, was just like, you know, the person 20 years ago who just like was full of insecurities and and they did stuff to fit in a sense. Where just like, all the emotional pain that I dealt with, all the emotional stuff I dealt with were just like relationships, were just trying to lose myself just to be included in this shit. But the craziest stuff about all this is like the resiliency of me building to get to this point of where I'm at right now. We're just like, it's gonna be fucking okay. Because you know why? Because it's gonna be fucking okay. Because I choose it to be okay. And it's just like, to me, it's just like, honestly, too, at that point as well. It's just like I'm at the point where it's just like, as in where I'm gonna be as my purpose and why, I'm gonna get there. And I don't need validation from anyone to tell me where I'm gonna get there or not. But like, again, same thing too. Just like, finding those individuals with people, like, if there's people I need to deal with, like just talk to, find the right people. Sometimes there's some individuals that you can't even talk to because they don't understand anything that you're fucking talking about. But when you find those individuals that you can talk to, those are the people you should talk to. Like those genuine individuals who say they are authentic, those are the people you should connect with, not people who can't. If you have, again, I'm gonna say it again, if you have people in your life who can't even handle a conversation like that, and you should reevaluate that, why the fuck they're your friends. 100%. You should reevaluate why they're your fucking friends if they can't handle conversations like that. And that's when you find out who your real friends are. It's the truth. But yeah, I mean, again, you are more than capable to handle anything of your choosing. But it starts with one thing. It starts with just believing in yourself. It starts with believing in yourself, believing that you can get out of any circumstance you feel is difficult. Yes, shit can be difficult as fuck, but like it comes down to like this. I always tell you, like, for example, the people who can get through the most traumatic stuff in the earth, like those are the people you should look up to, because I think the person they are, like the most confident individuals, the most confident individuals you probably deal with, those are probably the individuals that deal with a lot of adversity in their life. And look at them now. Same thing as me. Like fucking the amount of shit that I have dealt with in my personal life. Even to this day, I still deal with a lot of shit. But I can hold my head up high and say, look where the fuck I'm at right at this point. Where like, yes, my life's not perfect, but I can probably lead some inspiration to you individuals who are watching this or listening to me, that you yourself can be here as well. And you can maybe get something off of me where it's just like, yeah, he's just like me. You just have to find your avenue of just, finding your way where it's going to be less stressful on you, so that you can just be like, all right, it's going to be okay. It does take time. Absolutely. It does take a lot of fucking time. But once you get through the time and you get through the perfection of like, I can handle this shit, that's where I think you get to the next version of your life. And it prepares you. I feel like anything that we deal in life, it just prepares you to be stronger. That's all it does. It's preparing you to be stronger. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because, like, that resonated a lot with me, and just like the stuff I was dealing with, I think, like, the lives, sometimes lives can get so fucking busy, and just like, taking a step back to realize, like, like, yeah, as much as like I am a person that talks about law of attraction and manifestation, yeah, I have vulnerabilities sometimes, and that's I think the best thing of all this is like showing your vulnerabilities to people, so you can see I'm just a human just like you. And this is where just like, and this is where you garner trust for individuals as well. Having a medium of where I'm at right now, where I'm talking about like, words of encouragement, inspiration, like at least having a connection with you where you realize like, damn, man, this guy is fucking powerful in what he's saying. It's just like, he's just like me. And this is why I just tell you, like, yeah, I'm just like you. I'm just another person that I found through experiences in life, even experiences living in the Philippines. Maybe I'm that person you're listening to me because we want to move to the Philippines one day, and you're like, what the fuck? I don't know if I can live in the Philippines. Believe me, if I can last here for 2 years and I say I fucking love it, you yourself can live in the Philippines as well. Just gotta get adjusted to the shit. Like, if you're coming from the United States, don't expect stuff to be like the United States. Please don't, because it's the Philippines. Have adjustments and you'll be perfectly fine. Again, like, you are in, these podcasts always revolve about the same shit. It's about empowerment, folks. that you are more than capable to do anything that you choose to be. You just gotta believe in it. Sometimes there's gonna be points in life where you feel like it's like you're in quicksand and you're almost neck deep and you can't get out, but the resiliency of believing they are taking a step back, whether it's meditating, going outside, or trying to find an avenue that you can decompress of all the stresses you have, makes you miles better. That you are more than capable of doing and healing yourself, and get you to that attitude of gratitude versus having the negativity just swallow you whole. So that's why I leave you all at. It's just like having faith in yourself that you can get out of through anything. So you really can. It's just up to you. The truth is, it's up to you. It's like, everything's in your control. How you react to stuff, how you deal with stuff, it's you. And I tell you that you can. How cliche it sounds, yes, you can. So anyway, it's been an honor and pleasure talking to you guys. Wonderful talk here in the podcast. Again, I'm available everywhere. Yes, I go live here on TikTok around this time, 11 o'clock ish. But these are also available on YT at Joe Lobo Presents is my YT. At Joe Lobo Presents. One word put together. You can find me on YT. I'm also available on Spotify. Also Apple Podcasts. This episode will probably be available tomorrow for the folks who are listening to me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YT. It's 1 o'clock right now after actually when we're finishing right now. So I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me and vibing with me again. I'm doing this for you. Showing my experiences of who I am. So maybe one day I inspire you as individuals to say like, yes, I can be like Joe Lobo as well. Because you can. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because it's not their business to even tell you. That's my opinion. Anyway, honor and pleasure to talk to you guys. It's been a wonderful podcast again. We'll talk to you guys soon. Again, this is a cadence we do once a week. Thank you so much for the people who hang out with me. Thank you for the people who send me gifts here on TikTok. You guys are real ones. Again, you are more than control of your life. Keep moving, keep believing, keep progressing. It's all you. It's your life. All right, guys, you take care. You guys have a great one.